Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of our Scale Modeling channel. This evening we're going to start an extensive series on building and detailing the Revell Monogram 148 scale B17G. In addition to that, I also did a tape up of the HK B17G in the same scale. Thirdly, we're going to show you a series of videos that I focused on the surface skin of an actual B-17 that's been sitting outside of the Eglin Air Force Base Museum in the Panhandle of Florida. So I took video of both the fuselage, the main wing, and the tail to give you a really good sense of what an actual B-17G looks like close up. So, all of this is being done because Masters of the Air is coming up at the end of January, and it focuses, of course, on the air battle over Europe. So with that, let's get started on building this age-old kit, and I'm going to show you how I detailed it, and if you follow my steps, it'll come out just as good as mine did. Have a great evening.
The B-17 lower wing has a lot of openings for air exhaust and air intakes. Here, the superchargers, the exhaust ports for the superchargers are here, and they're open. This is an exhaust port for air. There's an intake for air here, and here, here, and here. So what I've done to enhance the appearance of the wings is I've opened this one, the supercharger exhausts, this exhaust, these two air intakes, and these two air intakes. And I'll show you in just a second. The other thing is that there's some air intakes, air induction intakes here along the lower wing. And when you close the wing up, it doesn't look too bad because it's all dark. But there's actually a channel, and then there's a screen back here, and then the air gets channeled either to the engine or to the oil coolers. So what I've done is on the lower wing, as I said, I opened this up, opened the supercharger exhausts, and you can see here, opened up that port, and opened up the two ports on the outboard engine and the two ports on the inboard engine. In addition to that, Edward makes an interior wing set that, like a lot of this Edward stuff, it doesn't fit together very well, but you can make it work. When you put these together, don't glue them on the inside because you can see the glue here and here on the seam lines. So what you need to do is shape it and just put a few drops of super glue on the outside. On these two intakes, Edward provided a circular channel, and it was really hard to make it look good. So I discarded it and just used two evergreen box shapes and cut out the screens from the back and put them in place. And they worked really well. So any of openings along the sides here, after I super glued these in place, I just filled them with white glue. So now what you see are screening and a channel, and it looks pretty good. The other thing I did was I added some evergreen tubing here. I think it is, I wrote all this stuff down on the other one. It's, yeah, 0.125 tubing. And I opened it up on this end and this end and just glued them in place. And it gave a little bit of depth to the exhaust ports on the superchargers. So both wings are done, and I'm ready to close them up. The other thing I did, as you can see here, is there was a little bit of flexing on the wings because they're so long and the plastic isn't thick, and they didn't have any reinforcing members on the inside, so I super glued a whole bunch of them in place on both the lower wing and on the upper wings. So now when they close up, they won't flex so much. Adds a lot of strength to it. It makes the wings a little bit heavier, but that's okay. What I was looking for was strength to prevent flexing, because flexing will crack these seam lines. And once I get the two halves taped up, I'll show you how I glue them. So far I'm pretty satisfied with how they appear. The other thing I want to mention, and in some venues this may be heresy, but the actual B-17 had raised rivets all over its surface. And if you look at some of my other YouTube videos, you can see I have pictures of B-17s, and you can see the raised rivets. The other thing about a B-17 is almost all the panels on a B-17, the fuselage panels and the wing panels, they were not butt jointed, they were lap jointed. Butt jointed, as I explained in another one of my videos, is when the two halves come together on the surface and they're riveted along an interior support structure like a frame. But when they're lap jointed, they're overlapped. And the reason why they did that was, one, for expediency, and two, it adds strength to the structure of the both the wing and the fuselage. So Monogram accurately represented, not all of them, but accurately represented where most of the lap joints were located on both the wings and the fuselage, and the access panels for maintenance crews to get inside here. So for all of those of you who like engraved panel lines and indented rivets so that you can express yourself in terms of model art, that's great. But Monogram and Revell did a really good job of accurately representing the overlapping of the surface panels on their B-17 kits. The only thing they didn't do was, of course, add all of the rivets. There would have been thousands of them. The other thing is there's exhaust ports here for the engines and overflows for the fuel bags, which are inside the wings, flexible self-sealing fuel bags. And on the Monogram Revell B-25J, I was able to get in there and open this up, but these are too shallow. So what I'll do is I'll take a thin tipped indelible marker and just ink that black area right there along these things. Now in the HK kits, these are open, which is a really nice touch. And of course the HK kits have very petite engraved lines, and they have all indentations for the thousands of rivets, which is not accurate, but it does make for really good model art representation. And if that's what you're after, then you probably want to build one of the HK kits. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and tape it real tight together, get the two halves adjusted properly, and then using my gluing technique, I'll run beads of medium super glue all along these seams. The super glue will seep down in between the seams and provide a really, really strong joint. I'll probably do 2 coats along all of here, and then I'll remove the tape and put super glue in those areas where the tape was, and then I'll begin my scraping and sanding process. I'm going to try to preserve as much of the raised panel line detail as I can, and I'll try to be more diligent about being careful how to scrape and sand along the seam lines. And once I'm done and it's all the wings are put together, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the ailerons, and then like I demonstrated on my B-25J project, I'll cut them out, clean them up, and install hinges and cut out these hinge openings, and then I'll be able to reposition them. So with that, we will go ahead and we will close up the wings, and I'll show you what they look like closed up with the bead lines of super glue along the seam edges. I forgot to mention the landing gear bays. The landing gear can actually be installed with these plates glued in place. And of course on the real aircraft it was this hollow cavern with all of there were control cables and hoses and tubing coming through here. And the HK models accurately represent that. But on the Monogram kit, for expediency and to save costs, they just put a plate here. And you can actually look through here and you can see light on the back end of this plate. So what I did was I just rough cut out some plastic and put it there to seal the openings, and then I used white glue to completely seal the openings. So now it's going to be dark. Provides a little bit better representation. So these are, I did a lot of tweaks to these wings, but I'm really pleased with how they came out. And so now it's time to go ahead and tape them up and glue them together. I used liberal amounts of masking tape to get the wings tightly together and positioned correctly. And then, as I said, I ran beads of super glue all along these seam lines. So now it's time to remove the tape and add super glue to these places where the tape was. The other thing is the engine nacelles didn't fit together very well, so there's these seam lines here, and I'll either fill them with super glue or 0.005 inch plastic or a combination of the two. And the other one is a little bit worse. As you can see, seams don't exactly fit. This inner engine nacelle on the port wing is the worst of them. But we're making progress, and after I remove the tape, and I'll show you the result of filling these seams with plastic, and we'll take a look at it. But so far so good. It's looking pretty good. Both main wings have now been glued together using my technique of taping along the seam lines. That's what these marks are. That's where the tape was. And I used 0.018 inch wire, dipped it into a puddle of super glue, and then slowly worked my way along these seams, being very careful to try to keep the glue between the seams. And the capillary action of the medium viscosity super glue pulls the glue in between the seams, and came out pretty good. Because of the reinforcement work I did on the inside, there's no flexing of the wings on above or below, which is really nice. And I had to fix two voids, one here and one here. I put some strips of thin evergreen strip stock. I think this is 0.010 and this is 0.015. So now what I'll do is sand it with a sanding stick and then carefully scrape and sand it smooth. And there's a little bit of a dimple here that I found. I think I can sand that out, but I'm going to lose that raised panel right there. But this wing, which is the port wing, came out pretty good. I'm almost done with the starboard wing. I did 3 applications of super glue, and of course my technique of using silver paint. So now what I need to do is just polish the seams with some very fine steel wool pads, and we'll be set to go. This wing will, except over here I found a dimple which I filled. I put some super glue there and then used my Waldron punch and die and used a really small disc and filled that dimple. So now all I have to do is sand it out, and I'm going to lose that raised panel line. And there was a bit of a chip here, and so I put some a piece of evergreen strip stock here, and I'll go ahead and sand and shape that. And this one will be ready to go. So far so good. Once these areas are primed, what I will do is then I'll fill that seam with some white glue after it's been primed, because white glue sticks real well to flat paint. And then once that's done, then I can go ahead and put a lens in here when I'm ready to do the finish work. I checked the glass coverings. They fit pretty well. I'll have to put a little bit of Elmer's glue as a filler on this side, on this wing, and probably on the other wing too. And I did cut off these pieces here, these locators, because I'm going to use Resin 2 Details resin engines. They're 3D printed engines, and that'll be, I'm going to show you that next, what I had to do to modify the kit parts in order to get everything to fit correctly. It wasn't that difficult, it was just a lot of sanding. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the initial engine work, and then once both wings are done and polished, I'll be back with you and show you what they look like. So I think we're looking pretty good so far. Not bad for a 40-year-old kit. The main wings are now complete. All the seam work after 2 or 3 applications of super glue looks pretty good. And all I have left now is to cut some small pieces of this very, very fine steel wool padding in order to polish the plastic and remove some of all of this silver paint. The area where I had that little piece of plastic glued on, super glued on, has been contoured. That little dimple has been removed, and this wing looks pretty good. Once I get the area primed, I'll go ahead and fill that crack with some white glue. The other wing, you can see where I used plastic as a filler here and plastic as a filler here. And I've lost some of the detail, which is okay. It's just a little bit of it. Once it's painted and I weather it a little bit, you won't notice it. What was important was preserving all of these access panels. And that's what I wanted to preserve. And I think I accomplished my task. So this wing looks pretty good. And again, all I have left is just to steel wool it and clean it, clean both wings, and then in a later episode I'm going to show you how I remove the airlons, clean them up, and reattach them. I have both elevators glued together, and the seams are really tight on this. And it only took 2 applications of super glue, some sanding and scraping, and now I just need to smooth out the leading edge and the trailing edge with some steel wool pads. The other thing is, if you open up this area here and this area here, you get a much better fit on the fuselage. And you get a little bit of room to play with here. And of course, once these are removed, it'll make it much easier to go ahead and glue these together and work on those seams. I'm going to try to preserve as much of the surface detail as I can on this. And of course, I'm going to get rid of that. But I'll glue these, I'll tape the wings, I'll tape the fuselage together, and then glue these on so that they're nice and straight. And then we're looking pretty good. So there's a lot of nice surface detail on here that I was able to preserve, and once I get them cut out, it'll look even better.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this evening's introductory video on building and detailing the Revell Monogram 148 scale B17G. Next up, we'll do the tape up, and then the third one before we get back to working on the B17 will be the surface skin videos that I shot of an actual B17G. So I've got somewhere between 17 and 19 episodes on building this model, and I really took my time and took a lot of good video shots so that you get an explanation of everything I've done step by step on building this kit. With that, have a great evening.